Alright, back with another video. Two tables of 10 and L. Haven't put up a video in a couple of weeks, but certainly will be putting more up. And that stream that I promised gets ever closer, because how could it get further away? But anyway, yeah, that will be at some stage. Jack 10, I'm just going to check, try and get this to a showdown. A little surprised he just checked back on that flop. Let me actually open up my poker tracker. That might help when we've even got that open. Yeah, I played a tournament earlier and got aces all in against ace queen, and my opponent hit two queens. So, I thought I'd get a little bad beat whinge in there. I haven't actually. I'd like to put a tournament video up at some stage, but I have not had a run in a tournament for quite a while now. Okay, ace 10, one of the weakest hands will open with a gun, and here we will 3-bet these jacks. Get 3-bet when we've got ace 10, and this is just a fold. Second position, this guy in a 77 hands has not 3-bet, so ace 10 off is just going to be no good, and we get cold 4 here. Okay, let's see if we put 148 hands. Actually, 4-bet range, king plus. I don't think we just want to call here, or this range is just going to be filled with aces and kings. Maybe in position we could call. It's quite a small 4-bet, but I do think it's just going to be aces and kings an awful lot. Under the gun raise, we've 3-bet. That might be a little bit too tight, but when people are 4-betting there, the ranges are very narrow, and clearly you can't do that too often, otherwise you can get exploited. But I think it is okay to fold there. Because the problem with calling is, unless you hit a jack, like it comes 10 high, 9 high, 8 high, you're just going to stack off and then look at aces a lot. So it might be a bit weak. And if I played a little bit more at 10 and L, I might get to see some tendencies from people being a little bit more aggressive. But I don't think so. I think that range there is basically aces, kings, queens, ace, king, maybe the occasional bluff. Raise it up, and I think we'll continuation bet this ball. We'll go half pot. We do flop a gutter. Not a very good card to blast at here. I was going to blast a lot of cards, but the 9, if we had an ace, would we really want to bet big? He does have some 9s. I don't think we're going to get too much to fold. Maybe we could get like jack 8 and stuff like that to fold. Maybe we should try doing that. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's another play that I feel like I don't do enough, which is I raise from the small blind. I then bet the flop, get called, and I probably have a tendency to then check the turn too often. So I do have to try and find a few more double barrels with bluffs. Yeah, we are getting a 3-bet a little bit more tonight. So not many hands in, but you never know. Maybe it's because people are getting hands. Maybe it's because people know that people raise the button very wide. It's quite a small 3-bet. So if we had more stats, we might do a 4-bet bluff. We've got one hand on the guy. So when you have no information about people, it can make it a little tricky. That's why I've got to play more at 10 and L, then I'll get more hands on people. Okay, min raise, king 8 of spades. I think it's just going to be a call. I think there's reason to do much else. Ace 10 off. Closing the action, I think is also going to be a call. can be a tricky hand sometimes to realise your equity in these spots when you're not the aggressor in a multi-way pot. And if this guy checks, now I think we want to bet. I think the guy to our left, his hand is just littered with ace high. So I think we can now have a stab. Okay. So 45, 50 hands in, and so far we've got some a lot of old trash, but they will play for about half an hour for the video, and hopefully we'll get some interesting spots. Yeah, if I do a stream, what I'll do, I think, is try and do a couple of streams a week. I'd like to do more. I'd like to probably do three, but I'll start with trying to do one. Let's start with two and go from there, and then probably just make a highlights video. So if I stream for an hour or two at a time, that should give me enough material for a highlights video. Because sometimes a session when you're playing like this, it can be quite dry because there are lots of just nothing spots. Tens, I quite I don't know whether this is a pure three bet early-ish position raiser. I tend to don't mind calling. You've got a deceptively strong hand, and or at least mixing in call and three bet. Of course, that's the downside of not check raising the flop, is we now let his ace highs all hit. Would have expected him to bet the ace if he had one, even if he didn't have one, really. So I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe he's checking hands like jacks, queens, kings, or small pocket pairs. Don't think there's any real reason for us to bet now. Okay, so, you know, my play, I guess, is feeble, but it ends up sort of saving chips. Earliest position raises, even raises, the ranges seem to be relatively tight. So I guess we go for the minimum, even if it was pretty passive by me. Free look with five deuce, and unfortunately, flop brings us absolute bugger all. I'm seeing quite a few sort of weird stack sizes, so that's usually an encouraging sign when you play that lots of people with like 48.5 and just these people who are not topping up. I get a quick call, get a lead for one big blind. I'm just going to ignore it, and we're going to go for a raise. We have quite a big raise. Hopefully this range is filled with a lot of old nonsense. He does quickly call. Now I'm going to give up on that card. Just far too much connects, like 7-8 in case he's calling with that gets there. I don't really see now what we're going to get to fold. We do have potentially some outs. King or nine might both be good. Yeah, I think it's a very weird play. Whoops. But, I still think it's fine to raise the flop. A lot of those leads are very weak, so you will see people just lead and then give up to a raise. And I'd have kept barreling on some turn cards. That was quite a bad one to keep going on, I think. I'll bet really tiny over on the left. Could probably just check this one back, but I think very small bets on that board are probably the best because you aren't going to get check raise bluff on those boards too often. So people are going to be pretty honest, so you can take the pot down pretty cheaply. 8-9 off will just fold. Ace-10 off against an under-the-gun raise from someone playing very tight. Not that many hands, but I think we'll just let it go. That might be, again, it might be a little bit too tight. Eight and 7's non-big-gun raise. I think it's just a fold, particularly when someone not playing full stack. I'm trying not to be too tight at the same time, not just playing loosey-goosey and just sort of, just giving my chips away. All right, well, we'll just go with a small bet here with everything. I guess we're just going bet, bet, bet. What sort of size we want? 2/3 seems okay. There we get cool. We get a board that's not looking too good for our hand, but king high board's usually pretty good for the razor. If he checks, we'll just go with a third. Get called. Now, are we best off betting here to try and get value from a big diamond, or do we check and try and get to a showdown? Probably, certainly could do both. Both are fine. I think we'll do the latter. Huge 3-bet here. 19-7-2 for the guy very, very rarely through. And I think we have to call here. He's going to have a weak king quite a bit, but okay, he's also going to have stuff like that. It's a very large 3-bet here. Guy doesn't 3-bet very often, and he's playing a broken stack. So, as sort of pathetic as it looks against a huge, large 3-bet, I think I'm just going to fold. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm just getting a little bit too timid in those sorts of spots. King Queen here, though, will be a defend against the cut-off open. It's just when you see over like 100 hands, a guy has 3-bet once, and then he 3-bets you when you raise early position. You just think, well, he's probably got a big pocket pair most of the time. With a gut shot to the nuts, do we peel one off here? Guy's playing fairly tight, so he's going to have a decent amount of ace-x. I think we can. And also, if he's playing fairly tight, if he doesn't have an ace, he may well give up on the turn. That's a card we could even think of leading. It's just whether we think people will ever give up with an ace. That's the point here. If he checks back, I guess we'll probably have to have a little bluff at some rivers, but that probably isn't one of them. And King High has some showdown value, so I suppose we just check it back. Okay, the guy's playing what, Queen Jack, 8-7 of diamonds, so the open ender didn't bet with it. Okay, get called from the small blind and very dry boards. We'll just go with third. When you see stuff like that with a 7-8, people are playing really tight. Then when people do make aggressive actions, this is often why I become a little bit too timid, because when people do make aggressive actions, the number of bluffs is much less than, like it ought to be, what a solver might say. We will go for a 3-bet here. This guy, it's not a huge number of hands, but 56, 11, 20, so he's playing an awful lot of hands. This guy, I've got tagged as a whale from the big blind. Get called and I guess we can go tiny. I think people will play very honestly in this spot, but it's a good chance one of them will have an ace. and they both call. So very, very small chance that we're good. I don't think it's too high though. We'll now just check and hope to hit a 10, or hope that we can get it to a showdown and be up against two players that have pocket pairs. Well, that's an interesting river, isn't it? Yeah, I think that we'll see what this. I mean, I'm not. I don't think I can call. He's just shoved into two people. Called a three bet pre. No, yeah, he did, didn't he? Cold called a three bet pre. This guy's thinking about it. Okay. Oh, we'll just go small on this board. Well, I think now we do have to fold. We are going to get to see, of course, what people have got. And he does have the ace, which is what I thought. And that guy there with the 3-6 is, yeah. I think we might have to tag that gentleman as a whale. But then we can tag the other guy as a whale too, because he cold called a three bet pre with can't get the words out. Ace four. We'll go small here. Get called, and you know, 5-6 does get there, but I still think we want to bet, and want to bet reasonably big. Go with a flat on the button with Jack 10 suited. We river a boat now. What do we want to do? If he has a set, I'm thinking he would have probably. I think we might go for a check here. All right. Well, if that guy has pocket fours, I'm going to be very upset. But we do have kings full. Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful river. And what a beautiful turn we've got over here. Now, do we go for the raise or do we just call? This time we'll just call. Potential to invite other people in. Give people a chance to obviously hit the diamond. That's a possibility, but also gives people a chance to bluff or raise their two pair hands. We still have the nuts, which is lovely. And three bet these. I think we just, you know, we want to go big. The queen is, do we want to keep betting or do we want to check back and potentially call off a river bluff? These spots, you never want to bet and get check raised. We bet very small on the flop. We've got two queens, so queen jack isn't too likely. But pocket nines, pocket eights, any 10x. Yeah, I'm regretting my bet now, and I think we just fold. Maybe it was best to check that one back. And yeah, I don't think we want to continue. Perhaps that was a mistake. The eight's not a. But then, having said that, we've got queen, so queen jack just isn't all that likely. But a small check raise. It's a bluff. Good bluff. So what did that guy have when we had jack 10? So we made kings full, we made a straight with jack 10, so we can't really complain about the cards. He had pocket kings. I think we made the minimum. As that turns out, we should have raised the turn. So even though I've won a couple of hands there, I'm not sure. if the play was right. I mean, you can second guess yourself. Maybe we should just raise the turn with Jack 10. Don't get tricky with it. Just raise when you've got the nuts. And Queen's hand, that's one of those spots where I'm always a little bit unsure of what to do. But like I said, I don't think you're going to get check raise bluffed too much. So maybe betting can't be too bad. Game still needs plenty of work, particularly I think post flop. Just got to get a bit more used to playing where people put you to a few more decisions, not a huge number at 10 and L obviously, but at 5 and L people can often play very straightforward. I think they probably still are at 10 and L, so perhaps that play was fine. 6-5 of clubs, I think it's okay to flatten the button here. And yeah, I think this is above average flop. This time we will just raise. Yeah, we'll go to something like this. Get called. We still have the nuts. I think we just want to go nice and big. You go pot size. Call the 7-9 of diamonds in position. Well, can't ask for more than that, can you? We've got the absolute nuts. Now, do we go super duper greedy? I'm kind of inclined to, but maybe this is getting a little bit too greedy. Does he have like a lot of big pairs? Does overbet really make sense? I think we do it just to be, maybe this is just too greedy, but wow. Apparently not too greedy at all. Bloke didn't even think for a second. So perhaps a lesson to learn is when you've got value, just absolutely blast because people will call. Speaking of value, we're starting to pick up a head of steam here. We're flopping top two. We've got ace king. That's actually not a very good card. And we've got king jack. And we will still bet here. If we get check raised, probably have to give it up. Right, here I think we want to just check jam. Obviously it's a board that we're going to hate quite a lot. And he doesn't oblige us. Well, with my newfound theory, I think we just do it again. Oh, come on, it's supposed to work. Do we do it again? Is this just too greedy? Is he going to have a lot of ace high that's just checked back and he's going to be tempted to call this? Maybe my theory is needs a little refining. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you can just simply go all in all the time and get called. So, still, I've got to still try and put my opponents on a proper range. I did at least in that 6-5 hand say that he had a lot of overpairs when he called the flop and the turn. But I was just unconvinced whether all of those hands would call an overbet shove on the river because they are only one pair and we just flatted pre. So I think that's a bloke we probably don't want to bluff too much because we had all the sets, we had a straight. Um, so I think that was an optimistic call with his pocket jacks. But really cannot complain after a slow start to the session. We've just suddenly made hand after hand, and as you can probably tell from watching my videos, when I hit some cards, I'm all right. When I'm missing, my bluff success ratio is a little embarrassing at times. Maybe that's true for everybody. Like your bluffs are going to work less because when you've got nothing, your chances of your opponent having something are higher, and when you've got something, your opponent having something is lower. That made sense. I don't think I worded it very well, but I'm sure you know what I mean. All right, we'll play for about. We'll play for a little bit longer. Get to a couple of hundred hands or so. And flopping top pair. We'll go for a check this time. Usually I bet here, but I think it's okay sometimes to throw in a check when you actually have top pair. And we'll just go for a check call. Do not think I want to check raising with this. Doesn't raise pre. I think we do want to check raise here. Obviously, always worried about set fours or a set of fives. It's always a possibility, but he can certainly have in those spots queen four, queen five, 10-5, 10 for all those sorts of hands too. So we do certainly want to call. I think my sizing was okay, roughly 3x. And we will ISO with this. Yeah, we'll go for a check back. Not a bad hand, I don't think, to have as a check back. Then we'll start betting, trying to get a little value. It's bet small. Queen Jack of Diamonds, small blind range against under the gun. I would rather call here with 5-6 of clubs like I did earlier, although that was just to an open. I think this hand is just too easily dominated, so I think probably it's best as just a fold. You know, maybe I'm passing up too many of those marginal spots, but the reason for passing up the marginal spots like that would be if people are going to call all ins like the guy did before, do you really want to be taking too many marginal spots? Probably not. It may make sense to play tight in those sort of spots. We'll just call with the fives. Yeah, well, we've got two overs to the middle card. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. We've got a pair that's higher than the middle card, so we'd have a stab. Hope nobody has a jack. See if we can take it down. And video's approaching half an hour, so we will sit out next big blind. We get a call around a three better. I think we folded every three bet, but again, 8-9 suited is also not a hand that I think people love calling three bets with because of the problem against ace king. What am I doing? That sat me out there and I sat back in. All right, we'll play just for a few more seconds. We'll sit back in on this table and then sit out next big blind. So we'll pay another big blind. Okay. Now, this guy over 2,000 hands, 29, 24, 10. This guy does actually 3-bet quite a lot. If we had jacks or better, I think probably just want to stick it in. I think here just a call is probably going to be okay. So that's what we'll do. And hey, look, maybe I should just play this session for a little bit longer. Hang on, I won't talk it up yet. But we've run pretty hot. And pretty sure that we just want to call. Don't think we want to raise in case he's got like ace king, ace queen, where he's more or less totally dead. Not our favorite card. Jack 10 gets there. 6x is there. What's the right play? He's going to have so much here that's just completely and utterly dead. Yeah, I think when he does that, then he probably just had a big ace. So I'm not sure we missed out too much there. Like I say, we really can't complain about the cards in this session. That's with the set with pocket kings. We had a set there. We had a full house with king jack. We had a flop straight with 6-5. And to be fair, made some chips in all that. Even with the ace king, the diamonds, I rivered an ace. So there you go, a pretty decent session. Let's just take a quick look at the old poker tracker, see how we got on. And up $26.38. So 2.5 buy-ins. The red line on roughly level, but the blue line looking pretty damn good. 229 hands, so not a huge amount of hands, but a nice little session there. As I say, I will be getting a stream going in the next, hopefully within the next month or two. And I will be putting up some more videos. So I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate anyone that's still watching or anybody that watched throughout. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.